calendar one, you can put everything out like instantly.
Yeah.
Cause you got the people that sit and listen to the 911 dispatch, they're constantly updating everything.
Yeah. Alright, it's 5 o'clock, so I'm gonna open the meeting up. Ken, do we wanna start by opening the public hearing?
Yes.
Okay, so the first thing I'm gonna do then is open the public hearing. This will be a public hearing on a discretionary preservation easement for a historic barn per RSA 79D at 150 Hackleboro Road, map 239 lot 4, owned by John Kresnek. Kenny, you here for that?
No.
Okay. Alright, so the public hearing's open.
Yep. So we can move on and
Alright.
leave the public hearing
Yep.
open for half an hour or whatever and.
Okay.
Why don't we start by signing, what do you think?
Sure.
Before other people start appearing.
Yep, we got half an hour, you
Yeah.
might as well.
Yeah. That's that. Alright, so first item for signatures is a
That should be an accounts payable manifest?
thank you, I was a little confused by the initial. Alright, so, accounts payable manifest in the amount of $533,356.09.
And there's
That's,
a check for the gravel,
okay,
for the ARPA,
which you explained,
yep,
Yep.
$237,000,
Yep.
something like that.
Yay.
yeah,
Yep.
good deal, okay. Looking for a motion,
I motion.
I'll second, all those in favor?
Aye. What's the proper, I motion to approve? I motion to approve. Guess we did the proper way, so.
Yeah. Or you could just say so moved.
More official, so moved, I like it. We'll adopt it.
There you go, thank you. Back at ya. Alright, next one looks like an accounts payable manifest in the amount of,
Payroll.
That's okay.
I'm sorry. You're right, the payable manifest in the amount of $57,322.03.
So moved.
Okay, second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Hmm.
For your information, the road agent is approaching. Big John.
Road agent approaches.
Okay.
Thank you.
The cab of his truck is taller than I am, it's astonishing.
Oh yeah, it's a big truck.
It's a big truck.
Alright, Cal, I see your note concerning the welfare manifests. Do we wanna save that to the end and then move to non-public?
It's up to you, it's all, pretty much all expenses that you've already approved in accounts payable
They're
manifest
ongoing.
before.
Yeah,
I think we've briefly discussed the cases, but if you want, cause it's a lot, that's why I said,
Yeah.
if you wanna details.
let's save it for the end, with the non-public.
Good, cause I have something to add to that as
There
well.
you go, okay. Alright, so next item is an appointment slip, for Randy Johnson to the ZBA. I don't think we just need to sign, right?
And Gary Spalding, that's our agenda says, and
Yes.
Gary.
Yeah,
Right,
should be
we
two.
don't
Oh,
want-
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they're both alternates.
Yeah. As alternate, that's what I was gonna ask them, thank you. Which is great though, we need alternates badly, so. Thank you, Randy.
Oops, I didn't mean to stab you with my pen.
I'll live.
That's good.
He's still
You
clean
don't
up
know what I
this.
have on the tip of my pen. Poison
There
dart
you go.
pen.
Alright, and the next thing to sign is Gary Spalding appointment to the ZBA as an alternate as well.
Okay.
And thank you, Gary.
Alright,
Alright, next is a notice of intent to cut wood or timber map 230 lot 4, Cal, there seems to be a discrepancy whether it's Briar Bush or Barnett.
If you turn the page, you can see the map and see that it's kind of a weird parcel.
I see,
The landing's on Barnett, but they truck it out Briar Bush.
Yeah,
okay. It sounds like it's underway already then,
No, it's I think they're using the old log landing from like 10 years ago.
right? Gotcha. 6, 7.
So,
I think there's only one place to sign on that.
Only one little.
oh, did you need the select board to sign the timesheets in here? Do you gotta sign that? Do you wanna save that for later?
I'll say
or-
that later.
Alright, Ken, I did see some of the traffic on this, it's a addendum to the purchase and sales agreement for the property that the town owns on Route 106, map 226 lot 2, and it extends the closing date
90 days.
90 days, as we discussed,
Yeah.
so.
So we discussed that at the last meeting,
You
and
guys voted to extend it, and this is the paperwork for you to sign.
so does the 90 days start now or from our last meeting?
Goes till September 30th.
So that's September 30th, 2025. Oh, do we just need, do we all of us sign or just one?
You can just, one signature's fine.
Alright, that brings us back to the welfare manifest, so we'll leave that for now.
Just out of curiosity, Cal, neither of those two things were on our agenda, correct?
Right.
At some point, does the agenda need to get updated? Is this like considered a draft agenda or does it just show up in the minutes?
It's a draft agenda. When I send it out on Thursday, like we do our best.
Yeah.
But because you're the select board, we get new business right up until the very last second.
Okay.
So the minutes will show what we talked about.
Okay, so the
Unless
addendum
it's-
itself doesn't need to be updated before it's like reposted? I just was curious. Okay, good.
That's what the disclaimer at the bottom of the
Yeah,
agenda says.
that's kind of what I figured. I thought it might be a pain, but
I'll do these as a sign.
alright.
Alright, so moving on, why don't we get through the previous minutes approval, we'll start with the June 16th, 2025 public portion of the meeting.
Alright, so we've got some changes. On page 3, line 98. It's suggested to add, clarify that it's 289 loads of gravel. And then adding another sentence in there that says, this road repair is funded by the ARPA money the town received. And then, let's see, typos, then on page 6, we have several things. Line 258, adding in his opinion to clarify that that was an opinion statement rather than factual. And then on 268, it was suggested to remove, he remembers when the landfill was active and recalls the larger borders. He did talk about that, but not exactly in that spot and not exactly in that way, so it's up to you guys if you wanna strike it or leave it.
It wasn't important, I just brought it up, that was my change, is that the conversation, these two topics happened like 10 minutes apart in the meeting. but here they come together. It's not a critical statement, it's just to make it correct, that's all. He's remembering throwing things in the landfill when it was on fire, and then later on, oh, by the way, why are there two different maps? We're two different conversations, that's all. Either, they were both talked about, just not like this, so.
So agree to strike?
I am in agreement.
Alright, then later on line 281, getting rid of James O'Rourke's second while he was out of office and just replacing it with Julie Spencer of DES. And then 289, replacing these chemicals with PFAS.
Yep.
And then 299, caused by the property owner's septic system. Clarifying whose septic it was. And that is it for the suggested edits on 16.
Alright, make a motion to accept as amended,
I second that?
all those in favor?
Aye.
Alright. Moving on, why don't we look next at the June 23rd public minutes?
So in those, there's only one suggested change, which is line 52. Select board made regarding the SWC, comma, since she was at the meeting. So not,
Yep.
just a little clarification. That's it.
Anybody else got anything?
Nope.
Okay, then I'll make a motion to accept as amended,
I second it.
all those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Alright, moving on to the non-public minutes.
I just have to read line 66 through 72, and then I'm done.
Cal, the only suggestion I would have line 26. I think I made that statement and I would just say that in Scott's opinion,
Okay.
leave that sentence off with that.
In Scott's opinion, and then the
And
rest.
then the rest is, yeah,
Okay.
leave as is, because I,
Yeah.
that's my opinion.
Got it.
How can I make my comment?
Yes, you can.
The line 65, there's just in case should be 2 words.
Got it.
But I just still need to read this last paragraph. Okay. Okay, no, I didn't find anything else.
So then it's just Scott's change. So keep motion as amended, if you're happy with that.
Yep, I'll make a motion to approve as amended.
I will second that.
All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Alright, that takes us through, oh yeah, we need to get those in, don't we?
So, please,
Oh, yeah. No, just the thing that,
just,
with your name on it.
Thank you. Give it a moment. Beth McWinn's coming in about 15 minutes. What do you think, Ken?
start with, the new business.
Yep.
Right.
Yep. Lisa, do you have anything you wanna say, or are you just sitting and watching?
About, what are you looking at now?
So we're talking at your all board meeting request.
Oh, nothing in particular, I'd just
Yeah.
like to know if that's a possibility, I've been asking about that, thinking it was a good idea, and because of recent events in our community, I find it a pressing need, and so I'm making a request that we do that.
Select board?
I think it's a great idea, I'm not quite sure of the timing, only because we've had a couple of, while it's necessary now, and often, it seems like we've had a couple of meetings in a row where we've tried to make that painfully clear to people about the conduct, and I might wait just a little bit before we called a meeting, and I think in summer also with so many people scattered, it might not be a good thing to, how easy enough to gather them. But I agree that it's not a bad idea to get everybody together, at least the chairs of those committees, because I think on the whole, it's the chair's responsibility to keep order. And it seems like we've talked a lot about committee members keeping order, but when rubber meets the road, I think it's the chair who needs to say, hey, that's inappropriate.
What
So
have we done in the
maybe
past?
meet the chairs first.
We have had all board meetings with the land use boards.
Yep.
More to discuss what's going on in town, any big projects coming up, things like that.
Yeah.
So they're all kind of knowing what's going on.
Yeah.
But that's how we've done it, and it's just been the chairs. If anybody else wanted to attend, they could.
Yeah.
But we asked that the chairs please attend.
Yeah.
So that was how we did it in the past.
Yeah.
And again, that was just really for sharing information purposes.
Okay. Yeah. Calvin, anything from you?
I mean, I think it is a good idea. I think timing is tricky right now because it is the summer. They just put out all the guidelines for code of conduct, 91A stuff.
Yeah.
So maybe if we could, second week of July, first week of July?
First.
Maybe something in September, not necessarily mandatory for all, but if you could get all the
I would
heads.
say chairs,
The
yeah,
at least
for
the chairs,
sure.
but
Yeah.
like Ken said, make it optional for the committee members to meet, maybe that would be a way that we could
Yeah,
go
and,
over the code of conduct and reaffirm
yeah,
what we're looking for.
I guess the only thing I would add to that is I don't believe, unless there's RSA, I'm not aware of it, we can require,
Or you can't require.
we could require probably committees, but an elected official, we don't have the power to require them to do anything but their elected position.
Well, here's the other thing too, in our position, sitting on boards, we can certainly be the voice of that code of conduct and, we're going to be reminding people about it, I think for at least the near future, about the how-tos, how to conduct oneself at the beginning of every meeting, yeah? That's what we've asked, and I think I would give that process a minute or two to work and see if our chairs step up. And I think it's going to require everybody to step up just a little bit and say. I hate to keep being the mom, I feel like we've been the mom a lot lately, and maybe that's required, but I think the committees need to work with us here on this.
I think I've been on various boards and committees in this town now for probably 8 years at least. And like Lisa, I'm concerned about some of the things that have been said, so I agree that we need this. Why don't we look at schedules and see if we can get it scheduled?
Is it the board's intention to have police presence at certain boards or committees or commissions, meetings or hearings until that meeting might take place? I wanna know how my tax dollars are being spent. I was dumbfounded to come to the planning board meeting and find 2 police officers at the meeting for the
Right.
express purpose of why they were there. And to my mind, that means they're not out in the community doing their job because they're making sure that the rodeo doesn't get out of hand. And
That is part of their job,
understood,
but
we are
I
there aren't a lot of people around at that time of the night. So I'm concerned that 2 of them were here when one of them could have been out in the community. I don't know how much you thought you needed to have, and the 3 of you were here. And that's a pretty powerful presence.
Yeah.
And I don't think, having observed the behavior that evening in particular, and that's the one I'm referring to, that prompted my email, that the message got across. So the concern is still there, and if the police presence is still gonna be required at board meetings or commissions or whatever, who's paying for it? That board or that commission or who?
Yeah, well, I think the we, Lisa, is us. There is no pot of gold that any board or commission has that they can cover it, so.
But budgets need to be,
Understood.
and so if it comes out of the police budget,
I don't believe, did we request 2 officers?
No, the chief came,
Yeah,
because he wasn't sure that the officer was gonna make it on time.
Yeah.
So the chief decided.
yeah,
And then he was there on his own time, as far as I know.
yeah,
But
His
I would,
salary, so.
yeah.
yeah.
okay, alright, well,
And I would say this, that, you know, I think it's not speaking out of turn to say that police presence was not there to influence any decorum issues that you might have witnessed in that meeting. So it was 2 different things, and I think part of having the police there was very much part of their job. And it's well worth the money that we pay them to have them there. And I'm not sure what any more I can say about that or not, but I think it was good that they were there. And it was helpful, and it was absolutely legit for them to be there for that.
so my question to you is, are they going to continue to attend that board's gatherings?
I don't see that being necessary unless things change. But I could be wrong on that.
What about tomorrow night's meeting?
We haven't requested it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so,
Okay,
yeah.
okay,
But I do have to, a couple of things, I guess, we have a, large housing development proposal that is gonna be, before the planning board again on the 22nd, not tomorrow night, but the 22nd. There were, I don't even know how many people were here for that.
packed house.
I know you were here, it was very packed house.
There were 50 chairs, so.
Yeah, so, and I believe at least every chair was full, so, having someone watch the parking lot and watch the crowd is, I think, a pretty good idea. But as Beth said, there are 2 separate issues, one we're just not at liberty to discuss,
It's okay, yeah,
so.
I just wanna know what I wanna know.
Yeah.
And that's how money's being spent and
Yeah, but the
safety issue,
officer,
it's the safety issue goes without saying.
yeah, I get your point that the officer is here and not on patrol, but, I think that that particular instance, the officer was needed,
Okay,
so.
thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And then, well, 2 questions for me. Number 1, did you get the code of conduct? Has it made its way out?
Did
Okay,
I?
so did you? That's a question. Have you seen it yet?
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Okay, just wanted to make sure, right?
Yes,
Yeah,
absolutely, sure,
yeah, okay.
yeah.
And then the second question is, I guess we'll just have to try to work around meetings as best we can. So we'll be in touch on the scheduling of it.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
For all boards to start with chairs?
Yes, I think so. Yeah, I think that's,
So you're gonna look at September,
I would say as close to after Labor Day as we can.
So our first meeting is the 8th?
Yes.
Of September,
Yes.
but I'm not thinking during a.
well, I was gonna say, we have, the past ones we've done have not been for regular
Oh,
standards.
okay,
Yeah.
that makes more
Chose a-
sense, done.
We tried to choose a night off for all boards and committees, so
Yeah.
everybody could attend.
Yeah, actually, our meeting is the 1st, isn't it? Wednesday,
It was on a holiday.
oh
No,
no, it is
the-
Labor Day,
it's
so
the
you're right. So that would move to the 8th then?
Yeah. Yep.
Alright.
I mean, we could do 2 dates and see if who we get the most people for. We
Yeah.
can do one in August and one in end of August and one in September and see.
Yeah. Yeah.
And pull the chairs and see who we get more of.
Okay. Alright, so you'll work on that?
I'll work on that and I'll send you guys some dates
Yeah,
and
Okay.
sounds good.
start it that way.
Alright,
Alright.
we'll shoot for August or September, whoever we get most.
Yeah, we'll do our best bet at getting people, as Calvin said.
Yeah.
Alright, moving on, Concord Regional Solid Waste Committee meeting on July 24th.
Yeah, and this is,
Yes.
I think I sent you in the email.
Yeah.
This is a special meeting that has been called to review the proposed closing on the Whitney Road property.
Yeah.
That's the one that we've had, the co-op has had that agreement with the company now for several years, and
And that's the company who's going to buy it? Was
Yes.
actually going to finally,
yes.
yes,
Yeah, well, they were given an ultimatum.
Yeah, yeah, I
They had to
remember.
buy it or they were stopped, so.
Yeah.
So that's, they've made a proposal, so that's what that is.
Okay,
But
good,
I will attend that meeting.
thank you, yeah, sounds good.
can I tag along to that one?
Yes,
Because that was a
please.
great meeting.
Yes, please.
Okay.
Alright, next, under new business letter from Ernie Ballou regarding healthcare costs.
Yep, I think I sent you
You
a copy
did.
of the
Yep.
letter. He's a retired police officer here.
Yeah.
And with the increase in the cost of insurance, he's asked for a request, for the town to cover the increase. We are covering it for active employees. We did not fund that for retired employees. We have, a couple that are would be eligible, Similio and, I think, David Heath would be the other one.
We've got 3 retirees, Cheryl Gordon,
Oh, yeah,
David
Cheryl,
Heath, Ernie, Julio.
Yeah. So that would be the, we have to fund those 3 retirees, at least for the next 6 months, the difference. Cost.
How much are we talking?
Let's see, his would be $456.67 a month. I don't know what the other 2 would be.
I'm not sure we really know either because they all pay school care themselves, so it doesn't go through us at all.
Yeah.
So I'm not really sure how much they pay.
So that would be like $5,400 just for Ernie. If it's
Yes.
$456 a month.
Yes, yeah.
If we could get even a guesstimate on the other 2 retirees and see where that puts us, that would be great.
Okay.
Because if we offer it to him, we're going to have to offer it to him.
Alright, we'll get you that number.
Thank you.
Anything further on that, Flavia?
No, only that, I mean, he was certainly notified as soon as we had the opportunity to notify him. We got,
Yeah,
everything was late to us and
And you know, his
That's
letter,
hard.
you know, he expressed some concerns on the timing and I emailed him back
yeah,
explaining what happened. So,
Yeah.
It was out of March.
okay.
It certainly came, I think, as a surprise to all of us.
Yeah, that was a surprise. Yeah, if we can get those other numbers, thank you, Ken.
Alright, you wanna talk about,
Could you close the hearing first?
And
Oh, you
Do
can
we-
that, yeah.
also know, because Ken is here, do we know why? Ken, are you here for a
Yep.
particular?
Shell Meeting House Road discussion.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
He's later on.
okay,
Okay.
no, yeah, alright,
Later on, almost
Alright.
there.
I'm here for entertainment.
Okay,
Almost
are we
there.
entertaining?
doesn't get any better,
Oh,
does it?
sorry.
Yeah.
Alright, so at this point, I will close the public hearing on the, discretionary preservation easement. I haven't heard no.
Now it's up to
You
your
need a second.
discussion to vote.
Oh, I second that.
Is
To close the
second-
public hearing, right?
Second the motion to close the hearing.
Yes.
Okay,
And then you guys discuss the,
yeah.
Yes, I
Alright.
second the motion to
Alright,
close
so all
the
those in
public,
favor?
aye,
Aye?
public hearing,
Alright, and I do have a packet here, if anyone,
yes, it's very interesting,
yes,
I
why
did,
don't you pass that down to Calvin?
let's get through that,
Came out of Mandy's.
Yeah,
Yeah, I saw this.
oh, okay, good,
Maybe you guys.
yeah,
and this is great.
yeah. Yeah, I agree. Is any discussion on this?
It seems fine just the way it is, if we went through that checklist again, to me, it would be the same, so, but I would do it, Mandy said there was the option to do it for either 10 years or kind of have it renew in perpetuity, and I say keep it at 10 years, because who knows,
Okay.
one, if the Kresnecki's don't own the barn anymore, and then if it's not preserved anymore, I would think that, I can't imagine that after the amount of work that you can see they put into it, that new owners wouldn't take care of it, but still, 10 years seems a reasonable amount of time. So I keep it the way it is.
Should I make that in the form of a motion?
Yes,
Which I think we need, right?
Yeah.
I'm assuming we do, yeah.
do I have the,
Yeah, it's on the agenda.
yeah, but how is it worded? I move to, renew the discretionary preservation easement for a historic barn, RSA 79-D at 150 Hackleboro Road, map 239, lot 4, owned by John Kresnick.
Second motion.
Or
For
For the time period of 10 years
Yeah,
from this date.
I'll second that amended motion. All those in favor?
Aye,
Aye.
I'll get the hang of it eventually.
Alright, and Ken or Cal, it looks like we need to sign in a couple of places.
You can just sign one place, I
Okay.
believe. But I'll double check.
Thank you.
There's only one blue note.
Well, there's a second one, that was only if you were gonna go through the whole process
Oh,
again
Gotcha.
of reviewing.
Alright, there's page, okay, so we don't need,
You don't need to do,
Right.
right, that one you don't need to sign.
very good,
this one we don't,
that one we do,
this one we do, where it says.
yeah. Alright, I'll put all this back in the file,
That was a really complete, that whole file.
Andy does a great job with those.
Well, that and Mr. Kresnecki, if you're listening, the photos were great. It was really interesting to look through that and see the work that they actually put into that structure.
I do have one more thing on the new business.
Yeah.
Old Town Road, there's a section by number 237 that was paved.
Before I came
Before
in,
John?
before,
A long time ago.
very long time.
The town does not maintain that paved portion, has not maintained it. We went to take the paving out several years ago. The resident there said they wanted to stay paved because it keeps the dust down. The selectmen at the time said, well, they weren't gonna spend money on it.
Yeah.
Other than, the resident said that if the town could purchase the coal patch to fill the potholes, he would take care of that. And he did that for a few years, but he hasn't done that now for several years. There are potholes there, we got a complaint from some people that, use that road, as a commute road, on their motorcycles, so they're dodging potholes.
Yeah.
And, they'd like to see it dirt, the whole thing dirt. So John brought this to me and, again, it's been a few years since the resident has asked for a coal patch to fill potholes.
Yeah.
Right now, it would probably be, John doesn't feel there's enough pavement to even try to take it out.
Yeah.
But just to put some material on top and
Yeah.
make it dirt.
Can we give the resident the courtesy of a letter or phone
We
call?
will do that,
Yeah.
but that was, I wanted to start off the conversation.
Yeah, and I wonder if perhaps age is a factor,
Could be.
without knowing the resident.
I don't know.
Is it, I would assume it's easier if the road is just all dirt as opposed to dirt and then pavement and then you have to maintain it.
It would be, in its present state, it's keeping traffic very low, if they even go by that area, cause it is very rough.
Yeah.
Once you dirt it, the speed's gonna pick up.
Well then,
Because I
Yeah.
can grade it with the rest of the road.
Yeah. but it seems like it would be easier to just have it be all one surface, even with a risk
But
of a little
I'm
higher
surprised it
traffic.
survived the winter with the plows going over.
Yeah,
Interesting. I'm just curious, what would become of the old pavement? Where does that go?
They'll just be underneath,
Oh, you would cover it,
just cut the road.
okay. Alright. Okay,
I will, we'll send a note to the property owner and tell them we're considering it and see what they say.
yeah.
Yeah.
Alright,
That's it for new business. On to old business.
yep. Do we know, is Beth coming? She was due at 5:30, right?
Beth always runs a little late, so I would assume that she's probably scrambling here.
Yep. The David Booth, the reason I'm sort of hesitating, the David Booth discussion may take a little bit,
Do you wanna do move down?
that's what I'm thinking, is,
And that's why Ken is here, some of the old business, that's the Shell Meeting House Road
why don't we do
update.
that? Ken, you wanna come up? Or you can sit there and,
I'm happy here, I just know there are a number of discontinued roads and I don't even remember when I was on the planning board, but we were discussing what to do with them then.
yep,
And we're still discussing it, so I
all
didn't know
these
what
years
the
later.
current thinking is.
Well, so I guess to directly discuss the letter that we received. I think somehow they have the impression that we're acting unilaterally on this. And we're not, we received a complaint specifically about that road. So we're not just out, picking roads and, trying to change their status.
But my understanding is, Sumner Dole raised the question as to whether they were officially discontinued because the process of going through the Superior Court. And, I'm speaking as an individual, not sure of the Conservation Commission.
Understood.
But I think it'd be great if they were officially discontinued.
I will say, the letter raises some questions.
Yeah.
Back in 2016, the board at the time, we had a road committee and researched a whole bunch of this. And some questions came up about the legalities, whether all the legal ways of discontinuing road were followed. Our legal counsel advised the town at the time that it would be simpler because of the multiple roads that have been discontinued, to take them on a case-by-case basis if a problem came up.
Yeah.
So, this letter raises some questions into what was legal in 1928, what wasn't. That's when that road was discontinued. I think if we follow along with the 2016 advice, this is certainly a indication of there may be a case that the road was discontinued legally, and we forward it to legal counsel and ask them for their advice on this.
On this one road,
As a specific case.
yeah.
And maybe at the same time ask for a general opinion, if this was indeed the law at that time, are there other roads that could affect?
Right.
So we could more or less cross those off the list of roads we have in question.
And Ken, just so you're aware, Greg and Hillary are contending that the discontinuation of Shell Meeting House followed the laws that were in place in 1928. So, in my mind anyway, it makes a pretty persuasive argument.
It does, yeah.
that it was discontinued. But I also agree that we should give it to our attorney just for a look. And it's certainly, I would stress, not a unilateral decision by this select board to pick on any of them. We're acting on the basis of the latest, I believe we're obligated to.
Ours was 27, you said?
That was
1928.
1928.
28.
Yeah,
No, cause when I went to that hard road travel,
Yeah.
that same sentiment was echoed, that if a town meeting had a vote and it was recorded, it was discontinued. So I mean, if you look at the list, like I've got the map that I think Central New Hampshire Planning put out in, what's the year of this?
maybe the same one, the
2023.
Yeah.
That was a little earlier, I
A
think.
little earlier, and this has 7 roads, all discontinued prior to 1948, and they stayed discontinued. And when I was doing my initial dive into the roads, I found in town meeting minute and town reports, everything except for Sawyer Ferry Road was passed and recorded in
Okay.
the articles.
Yeah.
So if we're going off of that, then you would take 6 of these 7 roads, they would be reaffirmed as discontinued, if we go on that stance.
Right.
Yeah,
And then everything else was discontinued post the law change, which is why it's discontinued
Yeah.
subjects to bars and gates, so they should all be clean, if
Yes.
that makes sense.
It does.
so is it then worth it to get a confirmation on this one case and then that will affect those other 7 roads? Or
It's-
6 roads, whatever.
I think it depends on what the attorney says.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean.
Yeah,
Is it worth it to take it to him, get that one answer to that question and
yeah, I
then have
think
it
we should
apply?
focus on this one and then
Yeah.
ask the general question, does this mean that any of the roads that we have on our list that were passed or discontinued prior to 1928, if that affects those roads also?
And then
To
we'll be
1928 or 19, what were you saying?
The only one I
1940?
couldn't find was 1948, everything prior to that, so 25, 41, 25, 28,
Okay,
they were all in the beautifully cursive written
yeah,
old English.
Yeah,
Yes.
okay.
report. Yeah. So,
Some legible, some not so much.
Yeah.
Sitting there with a translator.
how many roads would that leave in question?
The only one it would leave in question
Yeah.
would be Sawyer Ferry Road,
Okay.
that was just 1948.
Yeah,
And that one, it says it was discontinued at town meeting, doesn't mean it wasn't, I just didn't catch it in the
No,
minutes if it
no,
was.
I got you.
But everything else there is minutes that you can pull.
What is the name of that road?
Sawyer Ferry.
Ferry.
Yeah, you can
Also
also, everything in
everything-
yellow is discontinued. Over here.
Oh,
So there's actually 2 sections of Sawyer's Ferry. There's one
oh,
to
yeah,
the south of Intervale Road and one to the north of Intervale Road.
oh, yeah,
It used to go down to the river.
oh, that's the one,
Some
oh,
of
yeah, I was
those
just through there the other
property.
day, okay, there's Battis Crossing,
Gotcha.
I was wondering what that was, alright, Sawyer Ferry,
To Sawyer's Ferry.
okay,
And then it also goes back, and the town has used that as access for logging, the conservation property back there.
okay,
Thank you for the update. This
Thank
is
you.
progress, it's a good thing.
yeah,
Hope so.
progress sounds good, so do we, what do we need to say, do we need to,
I am gonna send the information to the attorney on Shell Meeting House and ask the general question on the other roads
okay,
prior
Thank
to
you.
1928.
okay, great. Thank you, that would be,
Yeah, Ken, thank you.
I may stay for some entertainment.
Yeah, please do.
I hope it can be more well, entertaining is a mixed bag, so.
Yeah. So still not seeing Beth, why don't we go into David Booth?
Okay,
Would you, is it appropriate for me to text Beth to remind her because it
Sure.
may have. It might have slipped
please
her mind.
do.
That is what I'm doing on my phone here, I'm texting Beth McGuinn. And, no, you are not Beth McGuinn. Good evening, Brian.
Good evening.
So she was reporting on, just,
Community college.
community.
We've got Erin coming.
When did we have her? Did she have a time?
5:30.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay,
Alright, so while we're waiting for a response, Ken, why don't we get on to tuition reimbursement?
Okay, I think I sent you an update on that.
You did,
yeah.
I filed for a motion for periodic payments with the court. So they have to schedule a hearing date, and I'll be informed of that, and I'll keep them.
Sounds good. How about 418 Shaker Road?
We are working with the property owner, trying to, he's had several communications with the building inspector to try to get that, septic system taken care of up there.
Yeah.
That was the planning board heard his, case for the ADU, the detached ADU, that was part of the conditions of the approval. And, so far, no paperwork's been filed with the state for that permit, the septic permit, so we're following up on that.
Do we know for a fact that the ADU is not rented?
I do not know whether it's been rented or not. I know it was being advertised, but we don't, and that's why we're really trying to follow up on this.
And if it has, do we have recourse or do we, what happens? We wait to find that out first.
I don't know, I mean, there were two issues, remember we sent two letters?
Yeah.
One was about the ADU and one was about the failed septic system. So the failed septic system has to be repaired no matter what.
Right.
That's a state issue. So, but that was also a condition of the approval of the ADU, so we're following it up because that's what we have.
Okay, thank you.
Alright, Beth, as long as you're here, we've got about 15 minutes.
Okay.
So,
Sorry to be late. I was asleep on my couch.
What? That's why I was texting you. Hey.
Oh, you were texting me? No, I didn't get that. Let me just pull up my little handy dandy, is Edgar here?
no,
No, well, there we go. So, I did send out information to you all about the decision of the Community Power Coalition.
What is going on?
Ooh. And for the first time, sorry about this. There we go. Okay. For the first time, we are using a cost of services model to set rates. And instead of it being one flat rate across the board for all utilities, each utility has a different cost structure. So they've run all the numbers, they have enough data to do that now. And since the utilities are putting their rates lower than what's costing them, we can't do it. So what CCP&H, Community Power of New Hampshire, has decided to do is go with the cost of services model. It is about 1.5 to 2 cents higher than the utility rates. But it is the rate that we can offer for the cost of services. And we assume that at some point, it will be lower again than the utility rates, but right now, it is gonna be a little bit higher than the utility rates. So we went with the vote that we had at the last select board meeting, which was to only do an adder if the rates were lower than the utility rates, which we did not do as the default. But we do still have the option for people who want to have 2 mils higher than the set rate for their utility. So it's a little more complicated for sure, but it is what it is for now, and we expect that in the future it will be lower than the utility, but for right now, it's a little bit higher. And that's disappointing for everybody. And we're getting materials from Community Power to send out to the residents who are both on and not on Community Power, so that they know what the rate is. So there won't be any, oh, well, you're on it, so we're not gonna tell you. It's a straight up.
Are those
it
those
is-
big postcards that we've seen, or are they?
I'm not sure
are
what
they
form they
sending
will
out?
take, it's usually a 2-page form, backward and forward, with all the rates. Now, with the additional utility rates, I'm not sure how they're gonna do that. That's an extra challenge for them to deal with.
What have we done in the past? Did we send that out to everybody, or did we just put it on the,
They take care of it.
and send it to all the residents?
They send it to
Yeah.
all the residents, and I will put together something for the email newsletter. I didn't wanna do that until I came here,
Right.
so I need to get that to the newsletter so that that'll go out. We've missed the June, July newsletter, so there won't be a physical one, but we can
No,
post
but it can be posted.
on the electronic.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good, that's good.
cause I have to figure out how to do that calc.
I was gonna say, you're the contact.
I can,
right?
yeah, I can do that, we can make that happen, but I think along with a good explanation that the people who want to opt up for that adder have some responsibility, have the responsibility to actually make that happen.
And actually, it was this way the last time, so the Granite Basic was the default.
Right.
And some people did go up to the Granite Basic plus the 2 mil adder.
Which was Canterbury,
Canterbury Basic, yeah, and that was a handful of people.
some, you said it was like 7 or something,
Yeah, a
yeah.
handful,
Yeah.
maybe 2 handfuls.
Yeah.
But they will stay on Granite, Canterbury Basic. And everybody else will be, everybody else who hasn't opted up will stay on, Granite.
Oh, you don't have
Basic.
to opt up every time?
No,
Oh,
you
okay.
stay where you are and you have the option to opt out,
Okay,
so.
so I think we need a really good explanation of the opting process.
Yes, yeah, no, and
Opting 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, and the rates that we're talking about are the residential rates, there's a different commercial rate, some people are on a monthly rate. And those are all explained on the website, but we'll stick with the basic, information about the residential, which is what we've done always. Even though there were different rates for the different classes.
Okay.
So, I think, has the town gone to community power at this point?
But, yeah, the town, you mean on town buildings?
Town buildings,
Yes.
yeah. So, you know, the town should think about whether they wanna opt down. I mean, that's a thing, you can do that, I'm not encouraging it, but I'm making sure that you know that that is a possibility, given budgets being what they are.
Of course, that would, yeah.
So you can opt down back to Unitil,
Right.
and that sort of is what they're hoping for.
We have budget review later on in the agenda.
Yeah, okay, alright. I'm happy to take your questions, I will get materials out, so that they can be, you know, out there for the public to see.
Okay, and I'm sure, I mean, we've got a meeting coming up too for Canterbury
On
Community
Wednesday.
Powers, so,
Yeah.
yeah.
So we'll talk.
And did you happen to find out what it was we had in our account for the,
Edgar is gonna look into that with CCPNH. I
okay,
don't know, they, you know, they are, this month is a crazy month for them, so, I did, yeah, I asked Edgar to
Okay.
take care of that, and he's gonna take the steps that are necessary to get it brought into our coffers.
okay.
But we
'Cause I
know
think
that
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 would be-
was not done.
Okay, but that would be a good thing when we talk about opting up, I mean, maybe even at our next meeting, we can decide some, you know, like, okay, if you opt up and we get the adder and the money comes to our account, these are some of the projects it could be used for. I think people would wanna know what they're, you know, if they're not gonna bother to opt up and pay more, what are you gonna do with it?
Yeah.
So if we have at least 2 or 3 suggestions of what kind of projects that could fund,
Yeah.
when we have enough money, I think that would be helpful. But that's that will come, so yeah.
Makes sense.
Any other questions
No,
or
I mean,
thoughts?
I think, it's always good to be transparent and
Absolutely.
let everybody know what's going on and why.
Mhm.
And I think that,
Yep.
you know, the why is probably the,
Very important,
yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. Okay, well, if any of you have questions at any time, feel free to reach out.
okay,
thanks.
Great.
thank you, the
Appreciate
meetings have been
your
going well and
Yeah, it was very interesting to watch the board make this decision. It was a hard decision
Yeah.
and for the first time, the committees had a split vote. Some wanted it to be a solid, straight cross, where Unitil would have benefited because our rates are the highest rates for
Yeah.
for cost of service. But everybody decided that it made sense for everybody to pay their fair share and go from there.
Okay.
So we'll see what the future holds.
Yeah.
It's
Okay.
gonna be, you know, again, the experience will do that.
Okay,
So,
Thank
alright,
you,
great,
Pat.
thank you.
I have a quick one on the old business.
Go right ahead, sir.
Lamprey Road, we had talked before about making it a dead end, there was a request.
Yep.
John and I took a ride up there, we looked at the property, not Lamprey Road,
Good one.
yes, Goodwin Road.
Goodwin.
Right.
Sorry, Goodwin Road. And there is no good place for a turnaround. The for a truck at the top of the hill.
Yeah.
So I would require the town truck, when they plowed, to back all the way out. And just didn't think it was feasible
Yeah.
thing to do.
Or safe. That's the thing, yeah. Made sense to me.
But the big complaint about it was the grade washing down into Old Tilton, right?
Right, and
How does-
and
Is there any way to
and we,
prevent it?
when John and I went there and looked at it, it was a day, like 2 days after one of the big thunderstorms we had,
Yeah,
the road was in good shape.
oh, okay.
It does, I mean, when we have 2 or 3 inches of rain, there
Yeah, I've
are,
seen the big,
just like every other road in
Yeah.
town, where we have some issues now and then, but for the most part, it's.
It is getting sandy from being pulled up a few times, it's time to put a little more ledge back on and find it down.
okay.
And like, as Ken said, many other roads in town, you know the spots, so.
Did you talk to the residents? You went out and saw it, you were going to talk with,
We happened to meet the resident that lives right there when we were there,
yeah,
and explained what we were looking at. They didn't have any questions, so we just went from there.
I'm sure they go out the other way, most of the time
I
anyway.
think it did.
Probably
All right.
not. Yep.
Okay.
I would. Yeah. Thank you, John.
Was that all the questions John had?
There's Aaron. Yeah. Aaron, why don't you, as long as you're up, why don't you have a seat here and we'll talk.
Okay,
Timing is
I
perfect.
hope you weren't waiting for me.
No, we
We're
weren't
not.
actually,
We have just reached your
Yeah.
part of the agenda.
yeah,
Perfect.
welcome.
Thank you. I'm amazed how fast a quarter goes by. Feels like I was just here. So this will be good. And if you ever want me to come less frequently, let me know when you hear how much or how little I have to report. So I just wanted to come and provide a little update on what's been happening at the village. As I was putting it together, I feel like I don't have a ton to report, so I'll report, and then if you have any questions or things for me, let me know. I think first thing I wanted to talk about was a grant funding update. I know the world has been in a state of change and confusion, and I just wanted to let you all know that while we're still very nervous, at this moment, we've only lost one grant, and it was a grant that we were close to completion, so it looks like our total hit, knock on plastic, is about $7,000. So we're very fortunate compared to so many organizations.
So only the last $7,000 of the grant
That's all that
are
was
being funded?
outstanding when the grant got canceled. So we really are feeling fortunate. Again, it's still changed a little bit of what the decisions we're making because we're still nervous that other things could happen and it's still changing the world of philanthropy. But in terms of actual lost grants, we're doing very well. So I just wanted to report out on that because I think a lot of people have been worried about us as we have.
Well, you had said last time that one of your really big grants was privately funded, correct?
Yes, the
Yeah.
Lilly grant is private, so that one's safe. We have our IMLS grant is still questionable. A lot of IMLS grants have been canceled, ours has not. So we're more than halfway through it. So we're really hopeful. It was a 3-year grant and we're in the second half of the second year.
Oh, nice.
We were just at the midpoint when grants started getting canceled, so far, we're still in good shape. That one's important to us because it's funding our inventory project and employs 2 people. And so we were most nervous about having to change people's employment and that has not happened, so.
Okay, great.
I guess admissions and events, we are offering free admission to Canterbury residents. I was not able today to talk to our staff to find out how many people have been taking advantage of that. But certainly we've been seeing some familiar faces, so hopefully they are. We are asking that people still check in, just so that we can give them a sticker, and schedule them on a tour if they wanna do a tour. But of course, they're welcome to come anytime.
See, you got prime real estate on the
I
back page of the
appreciate it.
newsletter.
Thank
All
you, thank
Canterbury
you.
residents, right there.
Yes, we appreciate that. So hopefully people, whether or not they choose to come, at least they will know that they can.
That's amazing
and
that
so
you can
yeah.
offer that, it's great.
Yeah, I'm glad we can too. We had our Simply Shaker event, which is a sort of farm to table dinner. It's a little early in the season for true farm to table, but that was a great success. Our thanks to the town for, we hired some police service to help make sure everybody was safe, getting back and forth across that road, and that that worked, everybody was safe.
Oh, good. Very
So
good.
that was great, we appreciate the presence. And we raised $40,000 that night in our Fund the Need, which was for collections, so for the care and conservation of our museum collections. So we're appreciative to everybody who participated in that night and helped make that fundraiser possible. That's sort of our biggest in the moment fundraiser of the year. We are offering a series of special tours this year. I did bring some flyers if anybody wants some, we can always send out more. These are ticketed tours on Tuesday afternoons, but they're fun and interesting and they provide a little bit of change. So I can leave these with people if anyone's interested. Kyle, our Director of Education, is offering those tours and they're a lot of fun, some interesting stuff.
Well, you had said that that's places that people don't usually get.
It is, like there's an Attics and Basements tour, there's one specifically following Nicholas Briggs, and sort of where he would have lived and worked and operated, so it's just some different twists on things, and so if people can come to that, that's great. And if not too, now that Kyle has developed these programs, we can always arrange for special tours also, but that's something that people might be interested in because it's something a little bit different. And as some of you know, we kicked off our summer concert series last night. Jordan played, drew a crowd of just over 100 people, which was a great way to start the season. We do have 4 more concerts coming up, sort of every other week, from now through the first week of September, so I'll also leave a little bit more information about those. And those concerts are free to the public, they're sponsored by some of our supporters. We do ask for donations. Last night was spectacular. We actually made in donations $40 more than we paid the band, which is great. We don't usually
There you go.
actually make money on those, so that was great. So that's sort of an update on our events. And then we will be launching a new exhibit in August. Details still forthcoming, but we did our New Hampshire Gives fundraiser about paint, and we raised just about $10,000 to focus on painting projects in the village. And so people got interested in the research we were doing when talking about shaker paint, and shakers used to make their own paint and paint different things, different colors. And so we'll feature an exhibit that sort of talks a little bit more about shaker paint this summer. And then launch, we were gonna do an exhibit about the Revolutionary era shakers, but we're gonna hold that till next year for the 250th and do that instead. And then just some updates on buildings and grounds, because that's where I think people see a lot of the change. First, I wanna give a big thanks, I'm not sure if everyone's aware how many volunteers we have working at the village. These days, we have a group of master gardeners, they call themselves the Wednesday Weeders, who come every Wednesday morning and tend our beds, and do a lot of things. They just this week planted broom corn and flax in the granite beds, which are sort of our demonstration gardens, so we're excited to see if those take. They said they're a little late to get them in this season, so we'll see how they do. But they're there and always welcoming other people to join them. And then on Fridays, we have the natural resource stewards come out, and they tend our trails and cut trees, and they've been doing a lot of pruning. We've just pruned the apple orchards and grapevines and things, so we're very grateful to them. We just had a dam inspection, every 6 years we have a dam inspection, and we learned of a lot more clipping and trimming and things that we need to do to sort of keep that dam clear. So the stewards will help us out with that a lot. We had, the fire department was out a couple of weeks ago and tested fire hydrants. In the moment, it went great. They all opened, they all flowed. We weren't sure how that would go. It had been a while since we did that, so that was exciting. It has caused some subsequent equipment failures. The pressure surge, since then, the next day we'd blown a pump in the carpenter shop, which we have since repaired. And then that set of repairs to the pump, we blew a pump in the dwelling house. So it's good that we're doing this because it is good that we keep these things running. But we don't wanna do it too much more often because there is a recovery period after we activate these systems. So that was I think it was a great exercise. It was good to have everybody up there, and it's really reassuring to know that things work, the pumps are working, the alarms are working, and that kind of thing. But once a year will be plenty for that. We don't really wanna do that all the time.
Or stress the system.
Yeah, you just forget when, it's just surging, changing pressure, we just blow a valve here and a gasket there and kind of wreaks havoc, but And then we have some building projects getting ready to move forward. The carriage house ramp, it's a very small project. We have the state approval, we have the HDC approval. It's a small fundraising lift, so that will go to construction sometime soon. It's really just adding sort of I call it a boardwalk ramp. The threshold to get into the visitor center is about 8 inches, and it'll just help sort of bridge that gap so that people don't come right out the door and take that step down. We're gonna try it on the side door first. If we like that solution, then we might apply something similar around the front at the main entrance. So that could be happening anytime soon. The horse barn roof is actively leaking, that's our next project. We have submitted for state approval, and just yesterday I sent in the HDC application. So hopefully we'll get that done. The roofer said he can come in late summer. So hopefully we'll have all the approvals in hand. I'm hoping that means second half of August, early September. It's not 2 weeks, usually contractors say 2 weeks. So I know we're farther out than 2 weeks, whatever that means, but anyway, hopefully this season we'll get a roof on that building. And on that note, I just this weekend had somebody step up and offer funding for the bee house, which I don't know if you guys know the bee house, but this is cute little tiny building
Yellow building
near the
that's
barns that burned. And so we're gonna get a new roof on that, haven't submitted for any approvals or anything on that yet, but that just got funded, so we'll try to get that moving forward. That'll be for pop-up interpretation and some permanent interpretation of the agricultural side of things, since we don't have a lot of buildings left dedicated to that.
Great.
The meeting house is still ready to move forward, we're in the approvals process. Again, I submitted a HDC application yesterday, just for the window repair. I hadn't realized that because the windows will be taken out of the building, even though it's just preservation, we need to get an approval. So that has been submitted, I'm not quite ready to submit the bigger project. That will be roof, siding, chimneys, that kind of thing. I'm still working on getting that, scope and specs together for that. And then just a couple other projects, I know this is sort of a long list, but the Brethren Shop bathrooms is one of my high priority. Those of you who've been in there, it's very submarine-like. We are still working on getting funding. I just got $20,000 toward that project today. So we're $60,000 short of that. So I have 2 more grant applications out, and then we might have to do a little bit of private fundraising to close that gap. But I'm hoping to get that to construction this fall. I'm gonna wait till we're done for the season because we're not gonna get it done while we're going. And then finally, the East House, which is the children's house, we've just submitted an L-CHIP grant, requesting $250,000 to rehabilitate that building, which our fundraisers are working on raising the match for. We won't know until the fall whether or not we get that funding, and that will be a project for the 26-27 season. So that's kind of what we have moving forward.
Grant writers have been busy bees.
We're working away. That's another thing. We just hired a director of development who started today. I'm very excited. Today was her first day. Her name is Cassidy Priester. She's coming to us from an organization called The Base in Boston, which is a youth sports-based group, and she lives in Rumney, New Hampshire. So she's looking for housing closer. Her husband works in Manchester, and so they both anyway, they're looking to move down here, so they've got their eye on the real estate market and will come closer when they can, but for now, she's started and so she'll be helping us out with all of this fundraising and grant writing. Yeah,
Yay,
anything that you wanna know about that I missed or any questions that you have for me?
that is a long and positive list of stuff, except for a few blown gaskets here and there.
Plenty to do, there's no shortage of things to do, and so again, as I think I said last time, the limiting factor is staff time and money, but to the extent that we have those things, we are getting as much done as we can, trying to keep the place active and looking and feeling good, so
Great,
hopefully that's
and just to circle back for half a second, your Wednesday weeders, are they all Canterbury or is that from everywhere?
They come in from all over the place, it's amazing to me how far. So I believe all of them have gone through the New Hampshire Extension Master Gardeners program, but they say they're willing to train and, anyone is welcome. They just happen, the dedicated few, tend to be that, but they generally come from 9 to noon on Wednesdays. Sometimes in the heat of summer, they come earlier, so if you know anyone that's interested, let us know, we can make sure we get them on the email list so that they know when they're gonna be there. Couple weeks ago or last week, because of the heat, they came on Friday instead of Wednesday, so there's a little bit of variety. But it's a great group of people that are really dedicated to helping us out in the village, so.
Yeah, well, if you think of it when you have a minute, send in any information, thank yous for about volunteers or groups like that.
Okay.
Send it into the newsletter because I wanna try and have a page, there's so many volunteer opportunities. And people shouldn't forget that they can volunteer at the village too.
Okay.
Some people just don't think of it. So-
Right, and I think for a while that had sort of been limited, and
Yeah.
so we're really trying to, bring that back and
We get first dibs on all volunteers, of course, but
Yeah, of course,
we'll-
of course.
we'll put
Yeah,
the-
that would be
we'll put
great.
the- We'll put the notice out, so send that along, please.
Okay, that would be great, I appreciate that.
Alright,
Anything
great.
else?
No,
No, thank you, Erin.
May I leave these here, or will
Please
that
do.
just be,
No.
I don't wanna just leave you one for the record?
No, just bring them over here.
Yes, of course. Maybe.
Anyone else will let, and I can put them up at the Stanley House,
That would be great.
the extras that.
And the library, they don't have
I
that.
think they have them up at the
Oh,
library, but
I'm sure Rachel has.
they
it.
might have cycled down already.
Yeah.
Ken's gonna be your first
Oh,
customer.
there.
Perfect.
Ken just took one.
Great.
Alrighty,
Good night, Ken,
thank you,
thank you.
Alright,
And Aaron, thank you.
Yes, and shall I stick around or?
No, I-
Okay.
oh, well, unless you want to, apparently we're entertaining, so,
Oh, are you? Well, I think I'll pass, but
Okay.
maybe another night.
alrighty.
Thanks,
Good
everybody.
night. All right, so what do you think? Can David Booth right away? So,
You all received
Yes.
emails,
it's all,
copies of everything, I have everything here.
Yeah,
We got a
very
hard
well.
copy emailed to us also today.
yeah, okay.
There was another email today?
No, I got the hard copy.
Oh.
Emailed us the hard copy of the
Okay.
email and the other documents that he had sent.
So I think once again, we're looking back at events of 20 years ago and trying to figure out who said what to who and.
Yeah, I talked with Beth a little bit about this earlier today, and I think a big portion of this letter was his contention that the discussion at that planning board meeting in 2003 was more about the, I guess I'll say the snowmobile trail portion of this property, rather than the right of way that goes through the middle of that property, of the town property map. I think, if you read through most of that letter concerned that.
Yes.
But he also contends that, because he posed this question, about the right of way, in 2022, he meets he's less than 20 years since the planning board hearing in 2023, or 2003, which is the limit for the RSA that talks about, so he has a chance to include this. I guess I would suggest, again, sending this whole thing to our attorney, having them look through it, and give us some advice on how you should proceed.
I agree.
It's complicated, it's a lot of, I guess, interpretation of the minutes of that meeting.
Yeah.
And I think, again, the attorney could look at everything and try and give us some advice on
I would agree, because, I mean, even if that whole planning board discussion was about the Morodarsky bordering Woods Road, and that's all clear, that doesn't take care of the issue with the right of way, which was the bigger issue.
Right.
And that still needs to be clear, because again, if the town is acting in good faith and the documents were signed and everything was legal at the time, I think we definitely would need our counsel to weigh in on that.
And we still, I know in the meeting that we had where he joined us at the meeting, he would like some kind of access to that property. He has access to that property, elsewhere. But I don't, I'm not sure what the end game is as far as just looking for access to that.
I mean, he still has the access of the snowmobile trail, that's his.
He does, although
it's
he's
not
looking
wide
for
enough.
50 feet,
Right,
and it starts out at the intersection of Baptist Road at 50 feet,
right,
but narrows down, and the town doesn't have the ability, unless we spend a lot of money to move the utilities that are there, to give him any town property.
but that's the original access, it was always that shape and size,
Right.
and it still is.
Right.
So
And
it's,
it does not preclude him from talking to the abutter on the other side.
Right.
Asking for some land there to make it.
and he has not, as far as we know, done that,
I
correct?
haven't been
Okay.
I don't know.
No reason we would, but unless we ask the
Yeah.
abutter, so. Yeah.
Alright, so I will forward this off to the attorney and ask him for some advice on that also.
I think that's the best way to proceed.
That seems prudent with this thing, I mean, again, even if the whole letter about the explaining which right of way was being talked about at that meeting is cleared up, it doesn't take care of the other issue.
Okay.
Which is the bigger issue, so.
Okay. Alright.
Tim, are you here for Shell Meeting House?
Yeah.
We've already discussed it,
Oh,
but certainly feel free to come up and we can sort of reopen it.
If you don't mind,
Not at all.
this is Damon.
Oh, I did, yeah, we've met before.
Yeah,
Good
yeah.
to see you. So, I'm not sure that Greg and Hillary are aware that this all began with a complaint to the select board.
We went back and read the minutes going back to April.
Okay, so you're aware of that. This isn't something that we just decided on our own to kind of unilaterally do. We just,
Right.
yeah, so just, I guess, I thought that was important enough to mention it going forward. So I think we've all read Greg and Hillary's letter, and I think it makes a pretty powerful argument that everything was done back in 1928. We are gonna have our attorney review those documents and get the attorney's opinion. And that's really where we stand as of right now.
It would be nice to have some reply from you folks, one way or the other. See if we need to proceed or not.
Yeah,
let's see, just so it's on record.
of course,
Yeah.
yeah, that makes
Oh, yeah,
perfect sense.
once it's clarified, yes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Well, we think it's clarified.
Yeah,
yeah,
once it's clarified, everyone's satisfaction, how about that?
Okay, so that was your decision to
Yeah.
contact your attorney
yeah,
and get an opinion from them.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, but I should see, is Greg back healthy?
Greg's fine, he's
Okay.
he's,
I know he was ill the last time we had a planning board meeting.
Oh,
He's,
yeah.
it seems like he's feeling better,
Yeah,
Good.
he's
so-
just not able to make it tonight.
Right, my plan for tomorrow night is to just grab him, let him know that there was a complaint. And I
Yeah.
really do feel it's important that he know
Hmm.
that this wasn't something that we just decided to do.
I messaged him the dates of the meeting minutes
Yeah.
and the paragraphs that he can look at.
Very good.
So he'll see.
That should help.
That should help.
Yeah.
And is it planning board tomorrow, is that what you mean?
Tomorrow evening.
Yeah.
So I don't know if he'll be back, he's in Vermont right now.
Oh, okay, good for him.
Is there one gate or two?
What's that?
Is there one gate or two?
There's one gate on Shell Meeting.
Yes.
I was just curious, cause the letter referenced the property owning, I didn't know if there was a second one where the property ended towards the other pond side by the Baptist Hill.
Right, no, there isn't one, current.
On the west end of Shell Meeting House Road, we own on both sides of the road, but not all the way to Baptist Hill.
Right, I just
So-
wasn't sure if you had a gate on Shaker side and where your property ended on.
No, there are trees across the road right now.
Currently. Because we've seen a lot of vehicles up and down there, even this spring. And once those trees fell down, it slowed down. So we haven't been super ambitious about getting those cleared out, cause we don't necessarily need access out to that part of the woodlot at this point, but
Not right now.
they're easy enough to clear up, but yeah, it may be something that we need to do is put a gate if we continue to have problems from the other end. It's just a little less, it's access down someone's driveway, kinda, so I think it's a little less appealing to go explore for some people.
If we put a gate over there, it would be farther down the road.
Yep.
Right.
Where we own both
Yeah.
sides.
Right,
And it's not a convenient place for people to turn around. People will drive in.
yeah,
So we haven't put a gate there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I appreciate your reviewing this again for us.
Yeah.
And we'll wait to hear from you folks.
Alright,
Yeah.
thank you both.
All right, thank you.
Certainly let you know.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Take care.
Ken, what do you think, budget review or? Yeah,
Start there.
yep,
I sent you an email with some concerns on the budget that I had along with the, I know Beth had asked some questions about some particulars. I think one was revenues from miscellaneous sources, and that's an account that when we receive a income that isn't something that we normally get money from, then that's where we put it. The total, we budget it at a dollar every year because we don't know what we're gonna get. So far, year to date, we received $14,617.02. The big ones came from a transfer from the building maintenance cap reserve account for $47.55. The other one was from a trust, a non-expendable trust. And that was for assistance with a burial. And then, we also, the big one was $7,210, and that was the grant that we received for the Unitil for the rebate
Oh, so
for the
it's,
insulation from the library, the
yes, yeah,
insulation project for the library.
perfect.
Those were the three large number ones there. We send in our solar readings, and we get REC payments for quarters for the solar panels. And so that's in there,
That goes in miscellaneous?
that's in the miscellaneous. There's a few others, some incident reports, when people request incident reports from the fire department, we charge them for that, and that comes in. So those are some of the things that are in there.
Why doesn't that come to a fire department budget?
Because,
It comes out of the town office?
no, again, this is a miscellaneous income,
Oh,
and any money coming into the town that isn't dedicated to a particular account
Okay.
has to go into the general fund, and that's what this money is.
okay.
Another question was on the municipal building, maintenance, and we're over budget on that, and the total budget is $14,249, and, so we were over budget on that, and we had to replace the water softener, was a big one. We just had to do some repairs to the big generator up there. It was a block heater, and that was $2,500. And then
Pumps?
the big expense was the septic pump.
Yeah.
We replaced both septic pumps, and that was $5,200. So those were some big expenses up there that we didn't plan on.
And that's, I'm assuming, all working now, everything's flushing well?
Everything seems to be working.
Okay, good.
Although we did have to have the generator company come back because the hoses were leaking,
Oh, jeez.
and so they came back and did some more work to it, but they didn't charge us.
Okay, good.
I think that was it. I have copies here for all those if you want them.
And what was the one there?
You
Oh,
sent,
Sam Lake.
you sent those,
Yeah, I did.
yeah, that's what I
I did,
that's what-
yep.
Yeah, just looking at them now.
Yep.
Wanna make sure we have the right ones.
So the next, the last, the P and L that you just sent
Yep.
us would include this most recent,
Correct, this
Pay
is through
period.
July 3rd.
yeah, okay, cause the last one we had,
It would not include the pay period.
this isn't, the one you just sent us isn't the one that I came in and sat with you and marked up.
No,
Okay,
No.
it's a little later, cause that, I thought that
Yep.
one was just before, okay,
right, that one was June 12th.
Yeah.
This one is through July 3rd.
okay,
So all the things you signed tonight are not.
Right, yeah,
Right.
yeah, which makes perfect sense.
Yeah, and there's, you know, some of the other little highlighted ones that I sent you, those bullet points.
yeah,
Like the planning board legal, we're over by $1,500. And with the project down to 18, I see that going up.
yeah,
Is it advisable, I know we discussed at one point, requiring Meridian to pay.
So we have established the fund with our bank on that, and, they have offered us some money to pay for attorney's fees for things, and the planning board can charge for that.
Okay.
So that would be one of those things that we would look at and ask the planning board to talk to Meridian about again. We have the escrow account set up. All we need is a check from them, we can deposit it, and then any associated costs that we're able to charge back to them
Yeah.
through the RSA, we will.
Okay.
And then if there's any money left over at the end of the project or end of the process, we'll return that.
Okay.
So, I was gonna send a note to the chair of the planning board that they reiterate that again with the Meridian, with the developer, and ask for some money for that.
Good job.
Let's see. The Sam Lake maintenance, we're over a little bit, but that was because of the repairs to the solar panels. That was at $67.24.
I was very glad to know that we were informed.
We will have some ongoing
Yeah.
expenses, we have to buy salt for the water softener, and if there's anything else that crops up. Highlighted lines here. Some maintenance lines with the fire department engine 2, they're almost $2,000 over on. Their bottom line budget looks good, so no problems there, no concerns there. Highway, you can see where repairs to T3, but we took money out of a highway block grant, that was some extra money that they gave us towards equipment to pay for that. And then T7 we're a little bit over on. And you can see on the training line we're over, because that was the 2 people we sent to
Right.
CDL school.
Ken, if we can back up for just half a second, just so I know, highway block grant, we have to apply for that every year or?
No, that is money that is supplied by the state every year. Depends on what the legislature does.
Yeah.
Last year, we got some extra money, and it was, we could use it for any highway department expenditure, including equipment. And we put that in a restricted account, but, that can be used for the equipment, so we use that money for that. Again, on this latest one, you'll see the summer gravel. We're $223,982 overspent on that line, but that was the ARPA money that we had. We have to put it towards a budget line.
Yeah.
For our audit, so that's where that goes.
And the ARPA was actually more like 250?
The ARPA money was $257,000. We haven't, that's not the total expenses so far on that project.
Right.
But I have all the expenses, almost all the expenses tallied up, and we will not, I think we have to send 23 cents back to the federal government. It's pretty close.
Using a 72-cent stamp, I mean, come on.
We got it down right to the wire.
Jeez, that's good, good management.
Item I on your list of the direct expense.
Yeah,
Why don't we talk about that when we,
okay,
does that
Yep,
make sense?
yeah, we're gonna do the welfare
Yeah,
manifest, so
that's-
we can talk about that now.
Yeah.
I think that's the last one, the last budget on there.
Okay. So far, so good.
Yeah, overall, the bottom line budget is more or less right where it should be.
Yeah.
Obviously, with some of these big expenses, like the ARPA money, that puts the bottom line kind of out of whack. But at the same time, we're saving money in other places, so we're not in bad shape.
Okay,
All
good
right,
management, thank you. Alright,
Select board representative
yeah,
reports.
yeah, who wants to start? Alright, then why don't you start?
Like HTC, obviously, I think Aaron just sort of hit on
Yeah.
everything that we had in the last meeting.
Yeah.
They are actively seeking alternates, so Kevin is out looking, trying to get some more new blood on the board. That was the only meeting we had this month. School board didn't meet this month, so I will meet with them the first meeting in August in Canterbury, and I'll be on the agenda this time, so if we have anything that comes up we want to address, I'll have a chance to actually speak. Ag, no meeting.
They're all busy working.
Yeah, they run the
Yep.
contractors the last
Yep,
week.
they certainly are.
I think that's it for me. Oh, no, Randy, oh jeez. My town email doesn't work, she can't email me, so I'm gonna have to read a screenshot of her email for her update.
for,
Rec committee,
oh, yeah,
good old rec committee. She said, I wanna send a quick update for the rec committee. Soccer season planning has started, registration is open, and the links will be sent out this week for this, to last year's players, the town newsletter and both Facebook groups. Registration will close on August 17th. We'll start purchasing new uniforms and go through the reimbursement process. That season will run second week of September to Halloween. Town Halloween will be on Saturday, October 25th. They're requesting the use of the town hall for bathroom purposes, and they want keys for the event. But other than that, everything is status quo normal, and they'll shortly, in September, they'll start looking at the Christmas lights, planning that for when they wanna do the lighting event. So, it's pretty straightforward.
did they ever get money for nets? The soccer rec I thought was going to go for money for net, or soccer nets.
I don't know, she didn't address that, I can ask her.
I would ask her because I think that there's a trust fund that's a non-expendable trust that they can apply to for nets, and I'm not sure they have. But I
I
would-
guess she was trying to figure out who owned the lacrosse balls that were up there.
Oh.
Keep getting moved around.
Yeah, I would just ask her if she has had any conversation with the trustee of trust funds about any kind of money that they might be able to apply to for
Okay.
nets. Okay.
Give that to her.
Alright,
Cool, yeah,
conservation, I don't have much to say because the last meeting was not held. But the event that they had here in the meeting house for with Five Rivers to talk about people in town who might be interested in conserving their land was really well attended. I think they were really pleased. They sent out maybe 15 invitations. I think a lot of those people came, and some other people that were unexpected. Everybody seemed really good for that information. So that was their big push for the moment. They have a couple of other projects that they're working on as far as a little bridge down at Kimball Pond over the spillway where the beaver deceiver is. There's a bench out at Skudak that we have to get there, and everybody was trying to decide between rain, vacation, and bugs when it could be done. And there was another cleanup day at wildfire conservation area that got rescheduled. So they're always busy, so that's good. Energy, nothing's changed there, where they're still looking at planning, the energy committee, looking at planning fall workshops, they have 3 different ones. That hasn't changed, the planning hasn't gotten too much further along on those, but that's still in the works. CCPC, we have a meeting coming up, and as you know, Beth and Edgar are now new members of that. And so we have the next 2 meetings for both those committees, I think will have a lot more information about it. Nothing really changed since the last time we talked. And my last committee assignment, which was solid waste committee, nothing to report by this time.
Alright, so for me, Tricentennial Committee, since you were both present, the art contest winner was announced on June the 19th at a school assembly. It was a lot of fun to be there, and the winning entry was chosen based on voting by all the members of the Tricentennial Committee. And the artwork will be used as part of the police department's Tricentennial badges. Looking forward to seeing the finished product, it should be great. Planning board, at the June 24th, 2025 meeting, the application from Meridian Land Services for a mixed-use cluster development at 114 West Road was voted to have regional impact. So what that means is all discussion stopped at that point, so we have to give notifications to our neighbors and give them time to respond. And as I said earlier, there were many interested residents who attended. And actually, while I'm on that topic, the next time that they appear before the planning board is, I believe, the 22nd of July,
Yes.
and I believe that will be at the town hall.
That also has, at 6 p.m., there's going to be a walkabout on the property.
Yes. Right.
So, and that, to which I believe the public is invited, so that's going to be noticed.
Oh, okay, I didn't realize the public would.
As far as I remember from that meeting, that
Okay.
was what was decided, and
Okay. Sounds good. The planning board also has been looking at a draft chapter 9 for the master plan, which is solid waste. Rich Marcoux has authored that thus far. We're gonna be discussing that tomorrow night, and I expect to submit several topics for discussion. The planning board will also be meeting tomorrow night with the Conservation Commission to discuss definitions of hazardous and sludge materials. Mike Tardif will also be discussing planning for the Op Grant Housing Public Session Input, that's a mouthful. And the planning board meeting will be here in the meeting house tomorrow evening at 7 p.m. Also on the agenda for July 22nd planning board meeting, they have received an application for a minor subdivision at 75 Intervale Road. So once again, that meeting will be held.
that's gonna be a long meeting.
It is gonna be a long meeting. I expect it to be a very long meeting. That's all I have.
Can I weigh in on your report for the Tricentennial Committee?
Please do.
Man, there's a lot of stuff going on. There's 2027, for anybody who's zooming in or listening, is going to be a very busy year.
Yep.
They've really got a ton of ideas. It's
Ton of
really-
energy.
A lot of energy and a lot of good ideas. I think it's gonna be a great celebration.
Yeah.
So, that's all.
Cool, thank you. What we got left?
I have one more item on the whole business.
Okay.
Transfer station report from Aries, we're still waiting. He's waiting for some information from the electrician. And once he gets that in place, then he should have a report done.
Okay.
We're meeting with the electrician tomorrow, we're going up to the transfer station, look at the building and make sure we're all set on that.
Okay.
So once that gets done, the electrician will talk to George and
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Yeah, okay, very good.
And at some point, would we need a work session to go over that whole, whatever they say, or can we?
Once we get the report, I'll obviously send it out to you
Yeah.
guys, and my guess is that we would ask George to come in to meet with you, because he's gonna go over some, he's gonna have several options
Okay,
of what you can do, what you can't do, and costs associated.
Thank you. While we're on solid waste, if anybody listening wants to volunteer to do foam up at Guilford on Wednesdays,
Oh, yeah,
check your newsletter,
yeah,
that's all,
that's good thought.
it's fun.
That's all we have for public.
Okay,
Okay,
Cal, do you have the form for
I do
adjournment?
have the form,
I've got it, I have
have the form sheet.
I just need
don't
the
look so surprised.
pertinent section of the RSA that
Just
applies
on
on
this
this
one,
one.
go to executive.
it. Two?
Yeah.
Did
Wait,
you
is this the updated one?
discuss the appointments for the zoning board?
We
Already?
did, yeah, already signed it,
Oh, that was done?
done,
I couldn't get here to start.
no worries, yeah,
Okay,
we
thank
we
you.
did that fairly
Good.
early on and both were appointed, so.
Okay,
So you
so,
have two new alternates.
and so how will we know? How will we noticed? How will we find that out?
I'll just call them and say that they're ready to come in and sign, cause it has to go to Sam, they have to go into Sam to sign.
Okay.
Yeah, they're not official yet, they've been appointed, but they need to come in and sign in front of Sam and.
Are you gonna let Jim Week know?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
So there's potentially two things that you wanted to talk about.
Yep,
The welfare manifests and timesheets.
Yep.
So that would be both
Thanks, Beth.
A,
good night, Ben.
See you all.
A and C.
Thank you for your help and your work.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thanks.
Lisa, good night.
Thank you, thanks for coming, Brian.
Is the next one at 6?
Which,
Five,
So they start at 5 now?
yes,
Thank you.
sorry, yes, 5. So, quite frankly, I wouldn't mind going back to 6.
I'm not gonna lie, I like 6.
Oh, alright, so let's talk about, while we're still in regular sessions, do we wanna talk about that? Going back to staying at 6 or going back to 5?
so I think we're making sort of record time tonight, but I'm thinking of those nights where we're here till what for me is pretty late.
Oh,
Cause like George, I get up fairly early, having a farm.
hey, I start drinking coffee at 5:30, so no, I'm no indicator, but,
My vote would be to remain at 5.
I'm either way, it just seems like it gives an extra hour in the afternoon to get ready with so many things crossing our desk, it seems like it would be, I think, actually, it's, what would you,
From the employees,
from the employee's position,
we start at 7 o'clock, at least I do.
yeah,
I know Cal is there quite early at times.
Yeah.
It makes a long day if we don't get home till 9 or 10 o'clock.
Alright.
And department heads also, when we have the.
Yeah, and department heads also, yeah.
okay. Alright, so, glad.
I like 6, but.
I too am an early riser.
Yeah.
I like 6 too, but there we have 3 to 2, so I guess we're back at 5.
Well, the 3 votes that count are here.
Oh, yeah.
It's certainly up to you
Yeah,
guys.
that's right, hey.
It is certainly up to you
So
guys.
now,
I like 6 only because with kids and activities and pick it up at school, sometimes 5 is tight, I can make it happen, but other than that.
you do remember we moved it to 6.
Oh, I know, we'll probably have to move it back next, for March, April, May next
Just a
year.
little reminder.
No, but I mean, like, in terms of that,
I like 6, but I can make 5 work.
Alright,
I don't wanna keep anybody later for 5, cause it's nice getting home at 8 o'clock too.
yeah, 5 is, yeah, okay, so discussed.
Cool, alright, so, having said that, I'm going to make a motion that we adjourn into executive session for, I'm sorry, Cal, was it A and C?
A and C.
Alright, so under RSA 91A and RSA 91A, actually, let me do the whole thing. RSA 91-A:3, 2, I believe, and RSA 91A:3, 2C. Looking for a second.
I'll second that.
Alright, all those in favor?
Aye.
And,
Alright,
we're
so now
already